lot of people from the US, Tamilians, came to Chennai spending their own money. And they were all well accomplished people like doctors and engineers and so on, well paid in the US. They came here without any prompting from the TVK party, which Vijay formed. No prompting from them. He did not ask them to come. He probably didn't even know them well. They all came on their own, spending their money. They were on the streets campaigning for Vijay, distributing pamphlets and so on, standing perhaps next to their Mercedes car or whatever. The iconic leaders, as you very rightly pointed out, we can't discount its weight in this. We can't discount that it was also a factor. We didn't have anybody of the stature of either Karunanidhi or Jayalalitha to come out and command votes. Yes, Tamil Nadu has been one of the more industrialized states, although it has now been put on a trajectory downwards. You will see its effect in the coming years. It may lose its preeminent position. Today, it is doing well because of the good policies of the past. The biggest factor here for the dissatisfaction with the DMK was the complete collapse of law and order. DMK has had a reputation of being a party of hooligans, and that's what it is. I mean, the top leaders are reformed themselves. They are very suave, they are gentlemanly, no doubt about it. But the cadre is comprises really of, for a want of better word, rowdy elements.
The MLAs will
Logically,
not.
no party would vote against Vijay. So on the floor of the house, Vijay would have got at least that day he would be in a position to prove that he had the confidence of the house, and then let him run it as a minority government. What does it matter? In 2006, Karunanidhi's government ran as a minority government this way, taking either side. Muhul Rohatgi and Aryama Sundaram saying that the governor's action is not appropriate, not correct, and Harish Salve saying it's absolutely fine. The communists have not apparently not made up their minds. See, there are a lot of this small and sundry parties who I think eventually will get on board and support Vijay only. Now they are looking at Vijay's position and they are demanding their pound of flesh. Funnily enough, in fact, it's been interesting insight to your viewers. All of these small parties are asking for deputy CM post, and ADMK would have very clearly supported Vijay with no problem. Vijay had approached them. Actually, he can still do that. He probably will. If they somehow iron out this Sengotain issue, I think eventually that is what will happen. But the problem is the politics here that Congress has come in and BJP is very keen that the Congress does not have get back a foothold in the state. He says BJP calls itself a party with a difference. And he says it's actually a party with differences. There's so much of infighting within Tamil Nadu BJP. BJP is keen that, because Vijay has got Congress on its side, it is not allowing, quote unquote, although governors are supposed to be independent, general perception here, true or not, we will not make a comment. I'm not here to make a judgment here. I don't know enough to make a judgment here. But the perception is very clearly that Amit Shah, the Home Ministry, is putting pressure on the government not to get Vijay in, that there have been some talks on this. And the man who is said to have triggered this whole process is somebody we all know very well, a man called Rajinikanth. He went and met Stalin with this proposal. He said many, many years ago, Biju Patnaik once floated this idea that DMK and ADMK should come together to keep someone else out, maybe Congress out or whatever at that time. And it seems Rajinikanth cited that and said, why don't you revive this process? After all, you can share the government 2.5 years each and then keep Congress and BJP out.
Hi, this is Pratim Ranjan Bose. You are watching Podcast with Pratim. I have with me Mr. M. Ramesh. He is my friend, colleague for a long time, and is now consulting editor of Hindu Business Line. Ramesh is
Hi, Pratim.
And we will discuss today Tamil Nadu politics, which is passing through a very interesting times. Ramesh, first question. For ages, Tamil Nadu politics means DMK, AIDMK.
Yes.
Yes. like in Kerala, LDF and UDF.
Yeah.
Now, this year, suddenly came a newborn party. It was probably born barely a year or so ago, right?
Oh, 3 years ago,
Right. And
just
we
before
haven't,
the last Lok Sabha elections.
right. And we haven't heard much of it until that stampede took place, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, of course, we knew about Vijay
As an actor.
as an actor. So, and I remember even in this poll season, because I was in various TV channels and I was talking on West Bengal politics, and the commentators from Chennai or down south, so they were not very enthusiastic to talk about TVK. In fact, I remember
Yeah,
someone said that it's a uh, social media party. Okay, it's
yeah,
all in Facebook and Twitter, but beyond that, Insta and nothing
yeah,
else. And people really spoke with conviction. That is why one thing you must not do in life. So when the
yeah,
results came, we all were really out of our words. The newborn party has got at least 10 percentage point more votes than either DMK or AIDMK.
yeah.
It is only 10,
35 now.
right. It has got the maximum number of seats, only 10 seats short of the majority mark.
Yes.
So first question is, why this change? What triggered this change? Is it so? I mean, we know that both the parties, DMK and AIDMK, lost their iconic leaders.
Yeah,
We also know that AIDMK is probably a little more at a disadvantage due to the fight on leadership.
yeah,
But DMK had Stalin, clear. There was no ambiguity on that. So over to you.
yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. Maybe a month before the elections, most people held the view that Vijay would at the best nibble at the periphery, at the edges. And I must admit that I was also of that view because it did look like that is what he would do. On the ground, reality was like that. Now we clearly, most of us, including me, clearly underestimated the undercurrents. People were really, really thirsting for a change. We had enough of these two people, DMK and DADMK, and honestly, there is very little to choose between them, excepting perhaps that DMK is avowedly an atheist party and ADMK is not. But otherwise, they are pretty much the same in their ideology and the approach to governance and everything. Now, what happened this time was, Pratim, a lot of people, I mean, just to illustrate this point, a lot of people from the US, I mean, Tamilians, came to Chennai spending their own money. And they were all well accomplished people, like doctors and engineers and so on, well paid in the US. They came here without any prompting from the TVK party, which Vijay formed. No prompting from them. He did not ask them to come. He probably didn't even know them well. They all came on their own, spending their money. They were on the streets campaigning for Vijay, distributing pamphlets and so on, standing perhaps next to their Mercedes car or whatever. And they spent their own money for the election expenses, like, um, providing for lunch for all the party people, lunch and stuff like that, dinner and stuff like that. So that I don't think they were, again, very, very keen that Vijay should come. They were keen that these two people should go and there should be a change. And a lot of people, typically who were the Vijay voters earlier, they were this youngsters, basically, Gen
Right.
Z.
Right.
Most of them had been saying for a long time that they would vote for Vijay. But it did not stop with that. A lot of people who were completely very unlikely to have voted for Vijay did come out and vote for Vijay. I mean, they may have been some Vijay fans here and there, liked him on in the films, but they were not really in favor of Vijay's politics or anything like that. They just didn't want DMK or ADMK to come. I have my own relatives, people who traditionally voted for either the BJP or Congress, more BJP than Congress. They all came out and voted for TVK. We asked them, why did you do that? He said, look, we want to change. That was the undercurrent. So the absence of these leaders the iconic leaders, as you very rightly pointed out, we can't discount its weight in this. We can't discount that it was also a factor. We didn't have anybody of the stature of either Karunanidhi or Jayalalitha to come out and command votes. It did not happen. However, it was also a factor, because clearly Stalin or his son Udaynidhi would not command that kind of a respect or thing. So, to answer your question, in one line, yes, people were thirsting for a change, and it looked like they got one.
So one reason you flagged out is leadership, right?
Yes.
But what else? You said that both the parties are same, but
Yeah,
and I'm just putting things in order.
please.
Tamil Nadu is one of the most developed states in India, richer states in terms of per
Yes.
capita. That is more important.
Yes.
And it has become over the last 35 years, since 1991, it has been on a prowl. It has grown very fast. And then it has got into a kind of politics where it was shunting out this investment, closing down that factory kind of a situation.
Yes.
So where was the dissatisfaction with these two? What is the new aspiration? Because and just another point is that we all know that after the $2,000 per capita, the aspirations shift. Tamil Nadu is way above that. It's above 4,000 per
Yeah.
capita, right? This is
Yeah.
when you are into mid-level, mid-income level. So
Yes.
your aspirations of your newer generation, and Tamil Nadu also has very large population staying abroad.
Yeah.
It is in all South
Yes.
states. So what is the new demand? What was the demand from these voters?
Sorry. Pratim, I learned very early on in my career that elections are not won on the basis of economy, where economic performance may be excellent, but that may not weigh in much when you go for posts. It is more emotional, and there are other issues at play. Yes, Tamil Nadu has been one of the more industrialized states, although it has now been put on a trajectory downwards. You will see its effect in the coming years. It may lose its preeminent position. Today, it is doing well because of the good policies of the past. You know,
Momentum,
all the investment that came earlier. We're
right?
not getting any new investments now. Not getting too much of foreign investments. I mean, there are only promises, but and again, not from very credible people. But I can give you, we can have a separate podcast on that, or I can dilate on this subject if you wish a little later. Leave aside the economy. People are not too worried about that. The biggest factor here was the dissatisfaction with the DMK was the complete collapse of law and order. DMK has had a reputation of being a party of hooligans. And that's what it is. I mean, the top leaders are reformed themselves. They are very suave. They are gentlemanly. No doubt about it. But the cadre is comprises really of, for a want of better word, rowdy elements. That's what it is. I mean, women don't feel safe. I have a daughter who's about 20 years old. I feel very nervous if she gets late, even in a city like Chennai. Outside Chennai, in non-urban areas, it's a pretty big problem. And then law and order has been a very big problem. And then there have been issues like ganja, that is drugs, the influx of that. You see, because DMK does not actively encourage it. Obviously, no party would do that. But DMK turns a blind eye when these things happen because the cadre is who is doing this.
From the
And there's
subalterns.
lot of dissatisfaction with that. There have been mishandle, some issues relating to government employees, teachers, and so on. What they wanted, the party mucked up. The DMK government mucked up, didn't do well by them. And then the Dalits. Actually, you see the irony of things here. DMK's fundamental plank, ideological plank, is social justice. Now, but then you ask any Dalit in Tamil Nadu, is not satisfied. Very, very dissatisfied. Dalits have been kind of marginalized. There are a couple of Dalit parties who champion their cause. One of them is with DMK, the Vidudalai Chirithaigal Kachi. DMK's track record in terms of doing something good for Dalits, it's not been great. People, at least that is a perception. Okay. I mean, let me not sit in judgment of what DMK did or not, because I'm not in a position to throw facts on the table. But clearly, there is a perception that DMK is not been doing well for the Dalits. So we have this Dalit factor, you have law and order, very, very major factors, law and order, and you have issues like ganja, drugs, and so on. So all these things kind of eclipsed the economic growth that the state has been seeing. That's the answer to your question, Pratim.
Right. I'll come back to it because
Yeah,
at the same time, it was at the center of a controversy from the BJP or the Hindu things, about its policy on temples and etc.
that's another thing. That's yet another thing.
Right.
Yeah,
So now, Ramesh, the TVK is barely 10 seats short of forming the government.
uh,
Under normal circumstances, it should, parties should come up and lend support. So, what is holding on? What is the reason behind this delay, and why the governor is not inviting them to form the government?
yes. Pratim, sorry, before I get to that, I must have brought in this temple issue because although these people have always held that kind of position, bordering on anti-Hinduism, uh, very blatantly, very brazenly pro-Muslim and all that. This time, just before the elections, there was this major Tiruparankundram issue where all that Hindus wanted to do was to light a lamp on the Tiruparankundram temple, and no Muslim objected to it. The Muslims are completely innocent of this. They didn't. I mean, they've been living friendly in a friendly way for decades, so centuries now. But DMK, because it was afraid of Vijay taking away its minority votes, it wanted to show itself, put itself as a champion of people. So therefore, it prevented Hindus from something as simple as lighting a lamp in a Hindu temple. That's all they wanted to do. They fought against it. When people went to court against, asking, appealing for being allowed to light the lamp, the Tamil Nadu government, the the Hindu endowment department, hired lawyers at very high prices and fought against this. Imagine the Hindu endowment department fighting against the Hindus. So this also, although people have kind of, I don't think this was a very major issue because people know that this is what DMK is. But this must have also contributed to the emotional factor while people went to the polls. I'm sorry, I should have brought in earlier. Uh, I I didn't think it was such a major issue, but I thought since you mentioned it, it'd be worthwhile bringing it in. Now,
Yeah.
coming to your question as to what is happening now. See, the facts are like this. First of all, let's understand the facts. Vijay's Tamilaka Vetri Katchi, that is, let's call it TVK. TVK, Vijay has got 108 votes. It needs 118. Of the 108, Vijay has won in two places. He would have to resign one of them.
Right.
So that brings it down to, oh, there will be by elections and TVK will get back that one, but that's for later. So that brings it down to 107. Then you have to spare one person for the speaker post. So you have 106. So they need 12 more to get to the majority mark.
Mm.
Now, this is the fact on the table.
Mm.
The governor had two options. One, call the largest majority
Mm.
party that has won the single largest majority, that is TVK. Call him to invite TVK to form the government and give him a couple of days' time, 2 days, 3 days, to prove his majority on the floor of the House.
Right.
The other option was to satisfy himself, that is, I'm talking of the governor, satisfy himself that indeed this would come and would be in a position to pass the floor test. Otherwise,
So
what would
that
happen will
requires,
come.
sorry for interjecting, Ramesh.
Yeah,
Normally,
go
what
ahead.
happens is that they go to the governor with consent letters from parties or
Yes,
MLAs that they have got the number that they claim to the
yes,
governor,
yes.
and then the governor, or whether in center or states, they ask them to prove it on the floor, right? That's the
Yeah.
normal way.
Yes.
Over to you.
Yeah.
So,
No, but
so
then
it
you
means
see,
that the TVK is not getting that number
yeah. No,
before
but
going to
you
the
see,
government.
even without any letter of support from any party, TVK is clearly the single largest party here,
Right.
108 seats.
And the
Nobody
governor
comes
should
anywhere
invite
close.
them.
The governor had the option of inviting him
Right.
and then asking to prove his majority on the floor of the house. His other option was to satisfy himself first. His defense against this option would be that, look, what is the point? I mean, if we call him, if I'm not satisfied that he will pass the test on the floor of the house, and then he fails there, then we go through the entire cycle all over again. So let's do it this way. We get the letters, so prove that you have the majority, then we will, form the government. So
Right.
these two options are on the table of the government. He's well within his rights to choose either of them. He could have chosen the first, which is to invite the largest party, Vijay's party, to first form the government, swear him in, and then give him a couple of days' time, 2, 3 days' time to prove his majority. He could have done that, it would have been simpler. But he chose the later. It is not illegal. He's clearly well within his rights to doing that. Now, what does the law say on this? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I can give you what legal luminaries have said about this. Two people, Mukul Rohatgi and Ariyama Sundaram, spoken on TV channels, have said that what the governor did was not correct, was not appropriate, not illegal, but not appropriate. It could have very easily called Vijay. On the floor of the house, no party would have voted against Vijay. They may have abstained also. They wouldn't have voted against Vijay, brought the government down, knowing fully well that if one thing led to the other, and there will be repoll, it is trouble for everybody. A lot
Then,
of
then
money for
TVK will sweep. If there is a
TVK will
repoll,
sweep.
TVK
No,
will sweep.
TVK will definitely sweep because it's just close on the heels of this election. If there is another election, TVK will have clearly the sympathy of people. Even ignoring that, who would want to go through another cycle of elections? All those people, all those MLAs who won, do you think they would want to resign and then put themselves through the whole process again? They wouldn't
There
want
will
it. So,
be, yeah, the MLAs will
logically,
not.
no party would vote against Vijay. So, on the floor of the House, Vijay would have got at least that day he would be in a position to prove that he had the confidence of the House. And then let him run it as a minority government. What does it matter? In 2006, Karunanidhi's government ran as a minority government this way for 5 years.
So, do you
And
find the governor's stance controversial?
yes, I will come to that in a moment. I'll come to that in just a moment. The other point that the government is well within rights. In fact, it is better that he asked for the letters before even uh, inviting Vijay to form the government, was put forth by Harish Salve. So what I'm saying is there are legal luminaries taking either side, Muhul Rohatgi and Ariyama Sundaram, saying that the governor's action is not appropriate, not correct, and Harish Salve saying it's absolutely fine. So, yeah, to answer your question about what the government, you see, here is where politics enters. Vijay, the day he won, he had 108 seats. If he had been a very clever and experienced politician, he would have gone to ADMK, which is the third largest party, not the second, with 45 seats. The 45, let me check it out.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
47 seats, with 47 seats, and requested Edappadi Palaniswamy, the leader of ADMK, to support him. And Edappadi Palaniswamy would have definitely supported him, either as part of the government or from outside. No problems there. And by now, Vijay would have been the chief minister.
Hmm.
The problem there with that was a man called Sengottayan, who was with the ADMK until recently. He fell out of favor with Edappadi Palaniswamy, the ADMK leader. They had a falling out. He quit the party. He joined TVK. Now he still has that grouse. It seems, I have no proof for this, but it looks like he prevented Vijay to go and ask ADMK for support. And from the other side, it seems Sengottayan's presence in TVK prevented ADMK to come forward and say, okay, Vijay, don't worry, we will support you. at least on the floor test day. So that factor seems to have weighed in. So Vijay had, what could he do? He would wait for people to come and support him. And Congress rushed to support him. And he said, okay, come along. Okay, if you are in fact, even,
let me interject. We heard the left parties will
yeah,
break away from the coalition. So they will break away from the coalition and they will support TVK. We also heard many stories. There were at one time we heard AIDMK TVK. Then we heard that AIDMK and DMK will form the government. That was most unlikely.
yes,
Any,
yes,
uh,
yes,
but why this is so? I mean, we always heard that politics makes strange bedfellows. So why
yeah.
are they just not settling it?
Well, you see, the communists have not apparently not made up their minds. See, there are a lot of this small and sundry parties who I think eventually will get on board and support Vijay only. Now they are looking at Vijay's position and they are demanding their pound of flesh. Funnily enough, in fact, it's been interesting insight to your to your viewers. All of these small parties are asking for deputy CM post, and they are
Well,
also saying both this DMDK of the former actor Vijay Kant, his wife heads that party now, Premalata, and this Vidudalai Chirithaigal Katchi. Both of them are also saying, look, Vijay, when you resign the Trichy seat, because he has to resign one of the two, and he's likely to resign Trichy. He has one in Perambur in Chennai city, and the other is Trichy. You resign Trichy, that will fall vacant. That will come up for by-elections. You put my candidate there. Both of these people are asking, and both of these people want deputy CM position there. Now, how many people can Vijay oblige? There are so many issues there.
that's the problem. So,
That's the problem.
coalition with a bigger party is always better.
Yes, it's always better. And ADMK would have very clearly supported Vijay with no problem. Vijay had approached them. Actually, he can still do that. He probably will. If they somehow iron out this Sengotain issue, I think eventually that is what will happen. But the problem is the politics here that Congress has come in and BJP is very keen that the Congress does not have get back a foothold in the state because Congress was booted out in 1967. And since 1967, no party other than DMK or ADMK have formed government here. Now BJP is very keen, apparently. This is conjecture again. BJP is very keen that Congress, with its 5 seats, should not get one ministry or two ministries, maybe deputy CM, whatever, should not be a part of this government. Already they are there in Telangana, they are there in Karnataka, they are in Kerala. BJP is very keen that they should not get a foothold in.
Question here. So that takes
Yep.
me to my next question. Uh, BJP is keen, fine, but its performance is,
Yes,
it
this month.
got 4 seats in last election, now only
Yes,
1 seat. It probably bombed its own party, Annamalai, and everything.
absolutely correct assessment.
So given that it is a difficult state, Tamil Nadu is a difficult state for BJP. So they made inroads and then they bombed their own prospects. They sold it out to AIDMK. So why do they now try to be what is their bargaining power over there?
No, there is no the bargaining power is only the power at the center.
Right.
Because as a friend of mine who is a very senior journalist, Prakash Swami, is fond of saying this. He says BJP calls itself a party with a difference, and he says it's actually a party with differences. There's so much of infighting within Tamil Nadu BJP. That is not so much, not with too many people. There is Annamalai, and there are 4 or 5 other people who are opposed to him. Because you see, from their perspective, Annamalai came in suddenly and has walked away with all the glory. But he worked for it. You see, he brought the party up from practically nothing to 11% vote share. Very respectable
And
number.
this time BJP is down to probably 2% vote share.
Down to 3% now. Down to 3%. Down to 3 or slightly less than the last time I checked, it was slightly 3.01 or something like that. He brought it down. And because of this, you see, there were very big problems in candidate selection. All those winnable candidates were not given seats because they were seen to be close to Annamalai. Somehow these people, should I name them? Tamilisai, L. Murugan, Vanathi Srinivasan, and to some extent even the leader now, Nainar Nagendran. It is said that these 4 or 5 people somehow wanted to keep Annamalai from growing further. So they gave seats to, they made sure that none of BJ Annamalai's people close to Annamalai got seats here. Some of them could have won. Essentially because of this, that BJP came down from 4 seats to 1 seat. And if this continues, the BJP will be washed out in the state. Very unfortunate. Annamalai's approach was correct. He said, let's not look at the short term. We will fight on our own. We will not try to piggyback on anyone else. It will take time, but eventually we'll get there. Otherwise, we will end up like Congress, which always piggy riding on DMK's back and getting nowhere. Right. That was his approach. And these people were in a hurry because they wanted some goodies for themselves here and now. Unfortunately, they made it this way. So coming to the earlier point, it is perceived that BJP is keen that, because Vijay has got Congress on its side, it is not allowing, quote unquote, although governors are supposed to be independent, general perception here, true or not, we will not make a comment. I'm not here to make a judgment here. I don't know enough to make a judgment here. But the perception is very clearly that Amit Shah, the Home Ministry, is putting pressure on the government not to get Vijay in, not because they don't want Vijay, but Vijay has this baggage of Congress. They don't want Congress in. So we don't know how this pans out. I think eventually, sooner or later, Vijay will have to form the government. There's no question of that. He will have to form the government. I think eventually ADMK will support him, at least on that particular day of the test. Then he will form the government.
Yeah. Otherwise, popular mandate, people will be angry. There is a popular mandate.
Like I said, it was not just some emotional, cinema-driven youngsters who voted for Vijay. There were people, intellectuals, people who lived abroad, people here who think deeply before they vote for anybody. Those people voted for Vijay because they wanted a change.
So that was my last question, Ramesh.
So you also asked about DMK, ADMK coming together. Do you want me to address that, or do you have another question?
Yeah, I mean, is it at all a theoretical possibility?
You see,
there was how can they come together? It's over here in West Bengal, Congress and CPM once came together in 2016.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was a disaster.
Yeah. And this is worse here because these people, I mean, this is more like Congress and BJP coming together somewhere.
Right. Or to put it better, leftists and CPM and BJP fighting election.
Yeah. Left and right. Yeah, you see, but it is not likely to happen for many reasons. But it is very, very clear that there have been some talks on this. And the man who is said to have triggered this whole process is somebody we all know very well, a man called Rajinikanth. He went and met Stalin with this proposal. He said many, many years ago, Biju Patnaik once floated this idea that DMK and ADMK should come together to keep someone else out, maybe Congress out or whatever at that time. And it seems Rajinikanth cited that and said, why don't you revive this process? After all, you can share the government 2.5 years each and then keep Congress and BJP out. So it seems he said that, but DMK is certainly not keen. Stalin is certainly not keen on that. That kind of seals it off. ADMK is prevaricating. No, ADMK, as you mentioned at the very beginning, there are people who are not very satisfied with the ADMK leadership. There are Fijiparas tendencies within ADMK now. It looks like a good chunk of people, about 20-25 people, are ready to break away from ADMK and maybe join TVK. So ADMK is not so much opposed to this idea, but it is impractical. I don't think it will happen. And it will have a very heavy backlash from the people also eventually. But this idea has been floated. There have been talks around this. That's very clear. It's not something up in the air.
Right.